Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another video. How's everybody doing? Last regular season picks video of the 2019 season of this year. So, you know, go ahead and get to it here. Kind of sad. Last week, the regular season, but we got the playoffs to look forward to. So a lot of teams are out, got nothing to play for. Kind of like these first two teams that are going to be playing on Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was announced today that you know, Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, the coach and general manager, respectively, of the Atlanta Falcons, will be keeping their job. I mean, I guess it has to do with the players. It's kind of like what Dan Quinn said, that, you know, the players, you know, they played hard for him and they, you know, turned it around down the stretch this year. Honestly, after the 28-3 Super Bowl debacle, this team's just been completely dead since then. I mean, they're 6-9 now. It's in Tampa Bay. I mean, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have Tampa Bay winning this game. Atlanta will finish 6-10. You got to move on from this guy. I mean, even though the players are different, you know, even though, I mean, obviously, you know, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and some of the other guys are still there, but still, like, after that 28-3 game, just mentally, like, that team's fried. You need to kind of change the whole thing, change the, you know, the stank that's in the air down there. So, I mean, I really wouldn't have done that. What are we going to do? Buccaneers, on the other hand, pick machine Jameis Winston is, honestly, all things considered, hasn't been terrible this year. I mean, he throws a lot of picks. It was something I've noticed. It's always on the same route. You know, he throws like these out routes, or these you know, kind of like these comebacks, or kind of like you know, it's like you run 10 steps and then you're gonna turn to like your 5 o'clock and kind of come back out and back in, and those balls get picked off a lot, which those are hard balls to throw. But at the same time, the guy throws a lot of picks, but he hasn't been terrible. You know, I kind of point to the fact that the team around him, the defense, just kind of look, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chargers, Cincinnati. There's just certain teams around the league that are just not drawing a crowd, not drawing interest or attention or anything like that. I look at this Buccaneers team. It's just one of these teams where it's like, when was the last time they were going? Like 2002? Like, do you really know? Has anybody really follow this team very closely? You know, so it's just kind of, you know, how are the Buccaneers of all teams, you know, kind of going to steal a spotlight here? You're in the NFC South. You got the Saints, and, you know, it seems like the Panthers, rather, are kind of done now. Cam Newton's kind of yesterday's news. Ron Rivera's gone. You still got the Falcons, and you got, you know, Julio and Matt Ryan, and, you know, Dan Quinn is back. But, like, the Buccaneers are a team that's never really been able to, you know, I think really not just be in the news, but be compelling. It's never been a compelling team for, you know, well, what was it, like, I think it was like 2002 they were, did they win it all that year? Or was like, I forget, because like the Buccaneers are not a team that you really, you know, yeah, they won this, okay, they beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers are just not a team you know, spend a lot of time thinking about. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I think like I think I'd stick with Jameis Winston too, just because of the fact that, I mean, who else are you gonna find? Like, you see the luck some of these teams have in the draft. Like, you know, you pass on Lamar Jackson and you take, you know, these other bums. It's like, I don't know. It's just the Buccaneers are always going to be the Buccaneers. But, yeah, I got the Buccaneers winning this game. It's at home. Why not? Next game. New England hosting the Miami Dolphins. You give me New England. I mean, come on. There's really not much to talk about here. Next game, Buccaneers. I mean, to be honest with you, I think there's only one good game this week, and it's the last one, which, you know, figures. That's going to be my game of the week. It's going to be the 49ers at the Seahawks. So, you got the... should we just talk? Nah, I guess let's do it just one at a time. Bears at the Vikings. Give me the Vikings. The Chargers at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. The Packers at the Lions. Give me the... give me the Packers. This is going pretty fast. The Browns at the Bengals. Give me the Browns. The Saints at the Panthers. Give me the Saints. The Jets. This might be the fastest video ever. The Jets, the Bills. Give me the Bills. Man, these are some bad matchups. The Cardinals at the Rams. Give me the Rams. The Broncos at, the Raiders at the, you know what, give me the Raiders. The Raiders, theoretically here, if I believe it's the, it's like the Seahawks need to lose. Let's just go ahead and do it here. Let me pull up the, playoff machine, courtesy of ESPN. I believe, I think you need, in order for the Raiders, so the Raiders can still I think, make the playoffs. I'm not sure. I don't think they've been eliminated yet. I think you would need and the Seahawks are out of it right now because you've got Tennessee. And so, okay, so Tennessee's going to have to lose. They're playing the Texans. So if the Tennessee, if Houston beats Tennessee and the Ravens beat the Steelers, then Tennessee still gets in. All right, yeah. So I think the Raiders might be out of it. I think last week was the last week where it was still, you know, in play here. Let me just want to confirm that here. I'm pretty sure it's going to out no matter what. No, they're still technically in the hunt. They're listed as in the hunt by the NFL. I'm just not sure what you would need to happen for them to get. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to play out the whole stupid thing. All right, so the Patriots are gonna win. Yeah, it's this one. The Cowboys, Browns, and the Saints, and the Saints playing the Panthers. I feel like I just had them playing. Yeah, they are. All right. Yeah, all right, and Colts and the Eagles and let's see, Packers, Raiders. It's still showing Pittsburgh as that last seed. All right, so then we have. Okay, all right. So here's what needs to happen. Okay, and I'm not sure all these things even need to happen. So let me just kind of eliminate this to kind of simplify it here. The Eagles, that doesn't matter. The Packers don't matter. It's NFC. Yeah, I'll keep the Bengals, Browns doesn't matter. Okay, so all right, yeah, Colts game matters. Saints don't matter. So the Patriots game matter? Nope. And then the Cowboys, the game doesn't matter. All right, so here's what needs to happen for the Raiders to make the playoffs. The Raiders have to beat Denver. The Colts have to beat the Jaguars. The Texans have to beat the Titans. And the Ravens have to beat the Steelers. Now, let's see. Is it realistic? The Ravens are going to beat the Steelers. Texans should beat the Titans, or should be able to. And can the Colts beat the Jags? Who the hell knows? And who the hell cares? And the Raiders should beat the... So it's not totally, like, out of the question that it could happen here. I got the Raiders beating the Broncos. And the Broncos are out of it. Yeah, I want the Raiders in the playoffs. I want the nostalgia. I want Gruden. I want some ridiculous scenario where, you know, which is never going to happen, where, like, somehow the Raiders beat, well, who would they play on Wild Card Weekend? The Chiefs? Or is it New England? No, it would be the they beat whoever they'd play. Whatever. It just doesn't really matter. So I want the AFC Championship game somehow to be the Raiders at New England, and I want it to be snowing. That's what I want. The rematch of the Tuck Rule game, and I want which is more nostalgia. I want buckets of nostalgia to be dumped on the playoffs here. Okay, I want the 49ers. I want the Saints. I want it to I want all the nostalgia, because the last few years the Saints got robbed twice. Well, all right, well, 2017, like that playoff, you know, with the Lattimore play, like they choked. Last year they got robbed. However, I want the Saints in the Super Bowl. Give me this. I don't want Jimmy G. Okay, I sound like Stephen A. Smith saying that. All right, I don't want the Eagles again. All right, I don't want one of these scrub. No, I want. Well, yeah, Seahawks could be good too. Marshawn Lynch back. I want kind of like with the college football games, with the bowls. You know, you got like the, you know, like the whatever. Just pick a company name, an edible item, and then the word bowl, and then that could be the name of the, like the Pepsi Sugar Bowl, the Home Depot, you know, Tomato Bowl, like whatever. You get the idea. The same way they've got, you know, all that. I want like the NFL Nostalgia Bowl. That's what I want for the Super Bowl. All right. I want like, you know, let's see, like the Patriots and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, Marshawn Lynch back, and I want the Seahawks to get the ball at the one. Like I want to do the whole thing again. Like that's what I want. I don't like the last few years. These Super Bowls have sucked. All right, we've had not necessarily, but like last year, why were the Rams sucked. And the New England Patriots ran a train over the LA Rams last year in the Super Bowl. That should have been the Saints, okay? The year before, Eagles and Patriots, one of the worst games ever. So there's no defense being played for 60 minutes. Except for like one play when Brady got strip set. But other than that, there was just no defense by either team the whole game. So yeah, kind of sucked too. 28-3 the year before, that was legit. And then the year before, what was that? The Broncos in the pen. No, that was garbage. Okay, like I want all the nostalgia. Okay, I want the whole. I want like get wherever David Tyree is. Okay, and like Plaxico Burress, probably like shooting himself in the foot in a club. So go find him. Okay, like bring him back. I want the Saints go like find like Vinatieri, put him back on the pit. I want all the nostalgia in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm rooting for. People ask me, "What are you rooting for?" You're like, that's what I want to see. All right, that was kind of a rant. Where were we here? Okay, yeah, I got Oakland beating Denver. Eagles beat the Giants. The Colts beat the Jags. The Texans. If the Texans can't beat Tennessee, then they really suck. Dallas beating the Redskins. Now here's the other big question here. Is Dallas out? So let's go to the which like people keep talking about it, but like I've lost track of whether or not they're actually eliminated. Like people keep talking about it, but no. Okay, so they're still like they could still technically get in 7th seed. They're just outside. But every other team is eliminated, so now I got to go to the playoff machine and we got to figure out what needs to happen in order for the whatchamacallit, for the Cowboys to get in. All right, so I'm not going to look at any AFC games here. Okay, so obviously Dallas needs to win, and they're playing the Redskins, who suck. And then you're going to need the Giants to beat the Eagles. Okay, that ain't happening. All right, so they're basically out. So there you go. You need the Cowboys need to beat the hell they playing? The Redskins. Should remember that. So I was doing the NFL, freaking theme song here. All right, so we got. Yeah, they're basically out because, of course, they're going to beat the Redskins, but the Giants are not, which could probably be. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if Eli Manning's playing. If it is, this is probably his last game ever, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not. Probably not going to play. I don't think he would play because, so he had a career record of exactly 500. He lost the game and dipped under 500. They let him play the next week and they won, and that brought him back to 500. So they're not gonna. He's not gonna jinx that. I think you've seen the last of Eli Manning, who's not a Hall of Famer. Everybody thinks Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Look, up until last week, his career record was under 500. Okay, so you can't. No, not a Hall of Famer. All right, he won 2 Super Bowls because he won the first one because he made some big throws in those games, but those were the only big throws that he ever made. But mostly it was Spagnuolo and the defense. But anyways, the Cowboys are basically done. Yeah. So then, what do we got next here on this list? Week 17. Titans at Houston. Yeah, give me Houston. Yeah, I got Dallas winning. Baltimore hosting the state. They're going to beat Baltimore. And then the game of the week, really the only game that really is the one you want to see. These games are straight up trash, okay? These games are this might be the worst stretch of games I've ever seen. I've never seen a slate of games that's just straight trash like this. this is trash. These teams suck ass. This blows. This is there is not one compelling game where man, I need to see that one. Other than the last game, maybe the Ravens. Nah, not even. Okay, this is the game we want to talk about here. This is I shouldn't even picked the other team because those games suck. This game here, which you can see kind of what the how polarized these things are. This might be the game of the whole year. The last game of the year, 256 out of 256, might be the best game of the year. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers are 12-3. Seahawks are 11-4, and we're going to have to go back. I have to keep pulling this damn thing up. Sunday Night Football, they flexed it to Sunday night. Last game of the year. Last regular season game. We got to go down here, and we got to look at NFL playoff. I gotta go to the machine again here because we gotta figure out the implications, which is the whole division hinges on this game. So right now, the 49ers have the 1 seed. If the Seahawks win this game, the 49ers drop to the 5 seed. The Packers get the 1 seed, assuming that they're beating Lions. I mean, we'll just play. Let me just put in my NFC picks here. We got Buccaneers over the Falcons. I got the Rams over the Cardinals. Vikings over the Bears. AFC. Got the Packers over the Lions. So the reason why I'm putting in the rest of these is just to kind of control for any other factors. You know what I mean? So it's not just like if they win, that I just want kind of all the. Kind of eliminate any, biases. I should talk, what I should have done this year? I should talk like Stephen A in this video. And take the biases. And we gotta get, so I got Eagles over the Giants. Get the Eagles over the Giants. And then NFC. Okay, I got the Saints. They're gonna beat the Panthers. I got the Cowboys, and then those AFC. All right, so here's the deal. So if everything else being equal, if the Seahawks win, then they're the 3rd seed, and the Packers get the 1 seed, and the 49ers drop from the 1st seed to the 5th. So you go from the number 1 seed, home field through the playoffs, week 1 bye, to none of that. So, and then if the 49ers win, then you get the 49ers get the 1 seed, the Seahawks are the 5th seed, and the Packers are the 2nd seed, which is ridiculous. And then, just for giggles, if they tie the game, then Green Bay is the 1 seed, New Orleans is the 2 seed, and Seattle's the 5th seed, which is interesting because if the Seahawks win, New Orleans... So I think New Orleans... Okay, yeah, and then the other thing is if the 49ers win, then the Saints get bounced from 2 to 3. So, basically the whole NFC, with the exception of, I think, Minnesota and the Eagles, is getting... So the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, and 5 seed are all getting decided by 1 game. Assuming that these other games are kind of locks for who's going to win them. So this game here, tremendous game. If you look at the last time these two teams faced each other, you have to go all the way back to week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How was it? I know did they just play? All right, beginning of December, so like 3 weeks ago, I guess. And it was an epic game. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm looking at the wrong freaking team. My bad. You have to go back to week 3 where the... wait a minute. What the hell? What am I'm looking at the... Oh, no. I'm looking at the... Sorry, wrong. I was looking at the Saints. I meant to be looking up... the Seahawks. My bad. All right, so go back to the last time. The 49ers and the Seahawks played each other. It was November 11th, so whatever the hell week that was. But the Seahawks, in overtime... dealt the 49ers their first loss of the season. It was 27-24. It was that crazy, unbelievable game. Went to the end of overtime, back and forth, and picks and missed kicks. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable game. Probably the game of the year to that point. And here we go. I think the game of the year, to now ended up being the Saints and 49ers. Recently. But this game here, it's in Seattle. One of the legit toughest places to play in the NFL. Mind you. I've got the Seahawks winning this game. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. You got Marshawn Lynch back. Who knows what he's got left in the tank. Maybe they'll give him the ball in the one this time. Who knows? But the 49ers are a team. I look at the 49ers. 49ers are a great team. Great offense. Ton of weapons. Great defense. I think this kind of comes down to, you have to look at fatal flaws. Like, the last time these two teams played, it was one of the most evenly matched tractor pull grudge match, wire to wire games. I mean, it was almost a tie. All right, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about how evenly matched these two teams are. Since that game, I think Emmanuel Sanders, I don't know if they had Emmanuel Sanders in that game or he went there after that game, but you look at this team, you look at the offense, you look at the defense, all great. You look at the Seahawks. I mean, I think what it comes down to, just because they're so evenly matched, you have to look at the fatal flaw for each of these teams. I think the fatal flaw for the 49ers is Jimmy Garoppolo, which Jimmy Garoppolo plays really well. He's the top quarterback this season. However, Jimmy Garoppolo, and you saw it the last 2 times these teams played, and you see it almost every week, has this knack, this ability to, to just make bad decisions, whether that's staring down a receiver too long and getting picked, or I'm sorry, getting sacked or strip sacked, being completely oblivious and throwing a pick. Like, he'll do that, like, 10% of the time. 90% of the time, the guy's nails. He's awesome, okay? And 10% of the time, he does, like, these things where you're looking at the team, like, why the hell, how, as the ball's coming out of his hand, you're wondering to yourself, like, how the hell did you not see the corner standing right there? Or how did you not, like, why are you holding on to the ball for an hour? I mean, that's how he tore his ACL last year. He's, like, you know, getting chased out of bounds, not getting rid of the ball. I mean, that's what you got to watch out for. So, you know, I think that's kind of the flaw. And the other flaw I think the 49ers have is that, I don't want to say they haven't been tested, because they've had some big tests this year. Seahawks, Saints, you know, and they hung in there until the very end. But I don't know if the Seahawks, or I'm sorry, if the 49ers have, like, ever been down. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've never had, like, a 28-3 situation and have had to come back. They either lost, you know, the few games they lost, which, you know, one was overtime. You know, it was an overtime loss. And the others were, you know, what they were. But, like, I don't know if, like, if a team really, I'm not talking about, like, they get, you know, it's like a back and forth game. Like, if schematically they're challenged in what they're used to going out there and just slinging the ball all over the yard. If they go out there and they can't, and, like, they really got to start making a lot of changes during the game, that's something I want to see. If Shanahan and Jimmy G and just all of them kind of have the mettle and the and kind of the, you know, the mental resilience in order to kind of do that in a big spot. What makes that challenging in Seattle is, I think it's the loudest place to play in the NFL. So it's going to mess with all of that. You know, your scheme, your cadence, your you know, your audibles, you know, your offensive line, they're going to hear you. You know, you have problems with delay a game, making changes at the line. You know, you're going to have to go, you know, silently, basically. Which that's a challenge for a lot of teams. I don't know. This incarnation of the 49ers has never played in Seattle. Last year, you know, you'd only play, you know, if you play your division rivals twice a year, once at home, once there. Building is the first time in the building last game of the year. Last year, Jimmy G was out with the ACL, so I mean, you know, or with the knee, you know, ACL, MCL, whatever. But you know, you look at this. This is, I think, the first time they've ever really encountered a situation like this. So I'm curious to see what happens. I got the Seahawks winning the game, just to get that out there. And it's kind of odd timing to throw that in there. As far as the Seahawks flaws, I mean, they got multiple flaws to go. It's injuries. It's depth. You know, we got Marshawn Lynch. You don't know what he's got, if anything. You know, at this point, you've got injuries kind of all around. You lose. You lost a lot of guys last week. You know, and so the question is, with 1 week to sort of gel and kind of get it together with kind of a lot of new faces and some old faces you counted on gone, in 1 week, can you do that? I think what's going in Seattle's favor is Russell Wilson's played out of his mind this year. If not for Lamar Jackson, he was the lock for MVP. The offense is tremendously resilient. I mean, it's like those old Seahawks teams, like 2013, 14. And they've really proven that there's really no challenge they haven't been able to overcome. Like, you don't put on the Seahawks and it's like, they're down like 37-3. Like, you know, they're in every game, which, you know, the 49ers have been too. But, you know, Pete Carroll tested through time. Same thing with Russell Wilson. They're playing at home in a place that's always been tough to play for every team. They've got those things on their side. There's so much on the line here for them to win this game, get the bye. I get the Seahawks winning this game. I just feel like the 49ers are going to go in there. They're going to have the trouble like I talked about. And the Seahawks kind of, they've been through this before, and they know what to do, and I feel like they'll be able to put this one away. With that being said, that's going to be this week's picks. Last week of the regular season, so Happy New Year to everybody. We'll be back with the playoff picks next week for the wild card round. Other than that, until next time, let's do it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.